Hello everyone, my name is Isabel Para and I decided to do my Reteach It project on intimate partner violence, social and structural factors. So what is intimate partner violence? Intimate partner violence is violence between partners who are or were involved in a sexual or romantic relationship. The types of violence include physical, sexual, stalking, or psychological. Physical violence is when a person hurts or tries to hurt a partner by using physical force. Sexual violence is forcing or attempting to force a partner to take part in a sex act, sexual touching, or a non-physical sexual event. Stalking is a pattern of repeated unwanted attention and contact by a partner that causes fear or concern for one's own safety. Psychological aggression is the use of verbal and nonverbal communication with the intent to harm a partner mentally or emotionally. About 41% of women and 26% of men experience contact sexual violence, physical violence, or stalking by an intimate partner during their lifetime. So the chart to the left you can see is a chart that shows lifetime occurrence of intimate partner violence for adult men and women. And for the most part, you can see for severe physical violence, sexual violence, and stalking, women have a higher percentage of occurrences, but for being slapped, pushed, and shoved, men and women have about the same percentage. And then, if you see the chart to the right, this is a chart of reasons women gave for not reporting intimate partner violence. So 40% didn't because they were afraid that the offender would get in trouble. 14% didn't because they believed that the police wouldn't come, or if they did come, that they wouldn't help or be biased. And 28% just dealt with it personally. Context of violence. Situational couple violence, which is the most common type of violence, it results from specific arguments and does not escalate over time. Couples do not suffer severe attacks or injuries. Controlling violence is least common, but it escalates more. So for this one, you'll see the partner trying to gain control or dominance over their victims, and it does escalate to serious injury. This type of violence actually motivated feminists to take legal and social processes to protect women. Another one, it is the least common, but it still happens. It's violent resistance. And this is when a spouse is the victim of violence and the victim lashes out. So say someone is getting abused, but not in that moment. They might just randomly lash out and hit their partner, which they haven't done before. So it could be because of self-defense, but like the example I just gave, it's not always going to be self-defense. And this example is a Utah family, the Height family. From the outside, they do look like a picture-perfect family. The guy in blue, his name is Michael. He is an insurance agent and a church leader. The girl in red to his right is his wife, and those are his 5 children. So from the outside, they do look like a picture-perfect family, but what people didn't know is that he would actually abuse his wife and his children. His wife actually filed for divorce, and they got into an argument. He ended up killing his wife. He killed his mother-in-law, his 5 children, and then proceeded to end his own life. So with that being said, I just wanted to use this example because even though someone might not seem like the type to do something like that, which a lot of people might think, I think it's important to look out for warning signs early on to prevent things like this. Because they did have social services coming to their house and things like that, but they never saw any signs that led up to us to help protect his wife and children. They were never protected. They unfortunately all lost their lives because no one spoke up. And then that brings me to who is at greatest risk, and that would be women, but especially younger women. It was shown that younger women are at much greater risk of rape and violence that cause serious injury. and women in families that experience economic hardships, which if a family does have economic hardships, they're more likely to take their stress out on each other, and that is known as common couple violence. Relationships that involve drug or alcohol abuse are more likely to be violent. Women in cohabiting relationships are more likely to experience violence than those who are married. And overall, women face the highest risk shortly after they leave their abusers. Violence and in lesbian and gay relationships. Victims have a hard time convincing people their partners are abusive. The stigma of having a minority sexual identity or being in a same-sex relationship compounds the difficulty of coming forward to address intimate partner violence. Lesbian and gay victims are more likely to report sexual violence, and this statistic was compared to straight women. Gender stereotypes make it difficult to believe the victims. So, for those who do speak up, it's hard to believe those people because of the gender stereotypes like men are more aggressive or that women are kind and nurturing so they wouldn't do anything like that. It's a bad look in court into the police. So because of that, there is less support services and there's limited research. That being said, victims who are being abused might stay longer in an abusive relationship because of the less support services and because of the fear of not being believed. Effects on children. For the effects on children, you're more likely to see it in a child's behavior, but on the outside, they might have depression, weight problems, abuse of drugs or alcohol, academic difficulties, or sleep problems. And this is not only if it happened to a child, but this is also if a child were to witness intimate partner violence. And more extreme cases can cause a child to have post-traumatic stress disorder, and that might look like the child having nightmares or flashback, being very reserved, just way more extreme than the ones that I listed there. And children who were victims are more likely to grow up and cause violence themselves, especially men. That being said, like I said before, it's good to know early on the signs to stop generations from having abuse in their families. Help is always available. Whether it's you or someone else, I think it's important to do these 3 little bullet points that I have listed. So that is to express your worry or concern to that person. Try not to be judgmental. I know a lot of the times people always say, well, I would never be with someone like that, or how could you go back after he hit you? But it is so much more than that, and I think it's important to bring yourself out of it and try to put yourself in that person's shoes, and of course encourage them to seek help. So there's always available help centers, emergency shelters, and a 24-hour crisis line. There's also the 3 R's, which is recognize, respond, and refer. So I did include the hotline if you or someone you know needs help. And if you aren't comfortable with calling, I also did include a text that you can text to the number that I listed there. And then to the right, you can see the help sign. This is worldwide, so if you aren't comfortable with any of those and you're out in public or something is happening in that moment, you can always use this sign for help. And then my references, and that's it. Thank you so much for watching.